Hi guys, welcome back to Movie Recap. In this video, I'm going to recap one of the films from 2015, Home Sweet Hell. Without any further, let's get started. The movie opens with a peaceful and lovely neighborhood where a family that lives there seems to be the perfect family, happy and materially successful. The husband's name is Don, and his wife's name is Mona. They have two kids, Andrew and Allison. In this family, Mona dominates with her overbearing attitude, and whatever she says must be followed. Their marriage is extremely inflexible, and everything has to be planned in accordance with Mona's wishes. They don't have happy or close-knit days like a healthy family should. In reality, Mona is overly insecure about her kids and demands that they constantly succeed in everything, even if it means using unethical methods. Any infraction or disobedience will be lethal, and she will punish them severely. Along with Mona's frequent refusal to make out with him, Don is truly very unhappy and depressed about this circumstance. This is due to Mona's ambitious plans and her careful planning of every detail, even the time she can spend making out with Don. Under the guise of maintaining harmony within his family, Don decides to be patient and accept his life's circumstances. In terms of their careers, Don is a manager at a large furniture store. Since Mona's parents contributed money to build this store, Mona is officially the proprietor. One day, when the store is hiring new staff, a woman by the name of Dusty shows up for an interview at Don's shop. From their initial encounter, Don seems to have been drawn to Dusty. Les, Don's neighbor and co-worker, simply tells Don to accept the woman's application to show his joy. In order to distract themselves from their tense marriage, he adds, they need something to look at. In the meanwhile, a man appears to have just finished murdering someone. After that, he watches the ongoing TV ad for Don's furniture store. It turns out that Don and his wife's whereabouts and activities are being monitored by this man and his group. However, Don still spends dull days with his wife, and one of the gang members has been pursuing him to learn where he lives, till he eventually has an affair with Dusty and escapes it all. This is the time when their bond starts to grow closer and more intense. This further diminishes the interest in Don and Mona's relationship. At first, everything goes well for Don, and he manages to conceal his affair from Mona. However, one day, during a party hosted by Don's family, Dusty breaks the terrible news that she is expecting his kid. Don is therefore shocked to learn about this because Dusty had previously used pregnancy prevention pills. Due to her strong desire to have children, Dusty also refuses to abort her pregnancy. She also insists that Don take responsibility for their actions. After that, Don visits Les and seeks his counsel regarding Dusty's pregnancy. Les suggests to Don, as most people would, that he give Dusty some cash in return for her keeping quiet and leaving Don's life. Les thinks that women like Dusty are the kind of gold diggers who have a tendency to blackmail successful men like Don. Thus, what Les stated is accurate. It turns out that Dusty is the sweetheart of Murphy, the mobster we saw previously. To put it another way, Murphy gives Dusty the job of seducing wealthy men so they can steal some of their money. But it appears that Dusty truly likes her target this time. In the end, Don gives Dusty $13,000 after taking Les's advice. Dusty declines Don's request to stop their relationship and never see him again, since she believes she is being treated like a horrible person. Don is now extremely concerned that his error will ruin his family, result in the loss of his children, and of course, cause Mona to become uncontrollable. Even worse, $13,000 is insufficient for Murphy, so the extortion continues. He now gives Dusty orders to beg Don for more money. Additionally, he requests a higher amount of $25,000 this time. The only issue is that Don is completely broke.
I understand.
Don ultimately chooses to take the chance of being truthful with his wife and telling Mona what he has done. Surprisingly, Mona appears quite composed. Instead, she asks if Don still loves her, to which Don replies that he adores her and their kids and would stop at nothing to make amends. At this time, Mona starts offering Don two options, either divorce, which would mean losing his wife and kids, or carry out Mona's orders and kill Dusty. He is now wondering how he could ever have the heart to murder someone. However, he also fears losing his beloved family. It's not going to be that easy. Mona starts talking about everything she's done and all the chances she and her parents have given him, and Don will still have to cope with his wife's anger. When Dusty contacts Don to ask for the $20,000 in cash, Mona tells him to take it. At this moment, Mona starts to show her darker side by telling Don to kill Dusty so she won't be demanding Don's money. Mona declares that she will kill anyone who dares to compromise her family's integrity. The next day, before Dusty arrives at the office at night to get the money, Mona keeps pressuring her husband to carry out the murder. She has even prepared a high-dose drug that will be used to end Dusty's life. When Mona sees Don's fear, she becomes enraged and persuades him to confront those who are attempting to ruin his family. Don is then compelled to carry out Mona's plan because he has no other choice, and he starts to consider how to initiate the action. When Dusty arrives later that day, Don greets her by giving her a tainted drink. As she sips a glass of it and begins to feel uneasy, Dusty notices Don acting strangely. Shortly after, Dusty finds out that she has been drugged, and when the chemical in her body begins to react, she passes out. Then Mona shows up and instructs him to put Dusty in the trunk. When they arrive home, Don is still too terrified to start their next move, and he is shocked to see Dusty still alive. But when Mona sees this, she chuckles and urges Don to grab the hammer. Don then hands Mona the hammer, but Mona tells him to do it to fix his error. Don, who is terrified, clarifies that he truly can't, so Mona tells him to open the trunk and lets her do it. After that, Mona takes Dusty's body into their garage so she may start mutilating him. Don can't stand to witness all of that, so he dashes to the bathroom where he just gives in to everything and pukes. Murphy, on the other hand, is becoming suspicious because Dusty has been silent with him for a few days. The following day, Don is terrified when he returns home from work and sees Murphy talking with his son outside the house. As it happens, Murphy instructs Don to meet him so he can find out where Dusty is. As soon as they meet at a club, Murphy asks Don where Dusty has vanished. At this time, Don can still claim that he gave Dusty the money and that he doesn't know where Dusty has gone. Since Dusty has taken the money, Murphy demands that Don give him $20,000 by tomorrow, or else he will harm his wife and child. Following the meeting, Mona informs Don that they need to dig Dusty once more and head to his and the gangster's house. At this point, Mona has a strategy for dealing with the thugs at night. As soon as she gets in front of it, Mona breaks into the gangster's home, but nobody is there because they are already in the club. While Mona puts something in the refrigerator, Dusty's body parts, including the portion of her head that she had previously severed, are discovered. Shortly after, Mona uses a kitchen knife she stole from the house to swiftly murder one of the gangsters and a lady. After Mona leaves the house, the man who is still alive calls Murphy and informs him of what happened there. In contrast, Mona reports the disturbance that comes from Murphy's house to the police by using the undercover phone. As soon as he hears this, Murphy goes to the house, and when he arrives, he is horrified to witness the damage that Mona has caused. Additionally, he finds the body parts of Dusty that Mona had put in the fridge. At this time, Murphy clearly understands that Mona has trapped him with all the murderous evidence pointing to him. At the same moment, the cops show up there and they shoot his man to death. However, Murphy is able to get into the house secretly through a hidden door. The next day, when the police arrive at Don's house, they tell him that Dusty, one of his employees, has died. The police claim to have caught the culprit, yet one of them remains unknown for now. That isn't the point, though. The point is that it was reported that Don had visited Dusty's lodge. Don soon runs out of options and admits to the police that he was having an affair with Dusty. In order to keep Don's behavior hidden from Mona, Dusty's boyfriend requested Don to cover the cost. The policeman acknowledges Don's problem and mockingly remarks that if Mona finds out, he doesn't want to find another body. While they are talking, Mona is agitated when a neighbor's dog unexpectedly shows up in their garage. Then, Mona warns them about what she will do if she finds the dog on her property once more. One evening, Don tries to question Mona about her history because he is interested in everything his wife does. He believes that Mona's current behavior may have been impacted by a traumatic or tragic event that she went through as a child. Mona's response unexpectedly changes and becomes intensely emotional. Mona claims that her parents are flawless and have never caused her any harm. Then she vows to kill and dismember Don if he dares to ask that question once again, just as she did with Dusty. After hearing Mona's prior warnings, Dawn is now forced to lead a life filled with anxiety and paranoia as a result of all that happened. While Andrews is celebrating his birthday, Dawn discovers that the neighbor's dog has been killed and put in the refrigerator. Also, they are enjoying themselves as Andrew and Lesan play friendly competition. However, Mona observes that Andrew is having difficulty winning the game. She grows enraged and claims that the competition is unfair since she believes that Les Big Son has been using steroids. Don is saddened by the way his son is treated, and he thinks his daughter Allison will eventually resemble Mona more and more. At last, he determines that it's time to put an end to his wife's insanity. Then, in order to produce an electrical short that would produce a spark, he turned off the electricity in his garage lamp at his house. He does a few tests before opening the gas tank's valve to release the gas and fill the garage. Then he asks his wife to bring him some beef from the garage fridge while Don checks on the grill. While Mona is heading to the garage, Don rushes out of there and leaves as if nothing had happened. As Mona opens the lamp in the garage, an electric spark emerges. The spark causes the gas-filled garage to explode, killing Mona. After everything has been done, Don is enjoying the treasure his wife left him while living in a new home. His wife no longer imposes any constraints on him or his kids, and he no longer fears that she will murder him. Murphy is pursuing Don's car from behind. Finally, the movie ends with the sound of Murphy shooting Don twice during the credits. Thanks for watching, and remember to turn on your notifications to watch more movie recaps like this one.